Good morning to all of you. And today's topic is another important topic from the examination point of view, which is deficit demand or deficit demand, or what we would call the deflationary gap which is created. Yesterday we done excess demand and inflationary gap, which was a very important topic. And like I told you, this topic carries 6 marks in your board exams. Either deficit demand or excess demand normally and always comes. So we need to do this topic well. Okay. Now today is deficit demand. What is deficit demand? Write down the definition. The excess of aggregate supply over aggregate demand at full employment level in the economy is called excess supply. It refers to a situation when AD is short of AS corresponding to full employment in the economy. This is a situation where aggregate supply is greater than aggregate demand. AS is greater than AD. Now I'm going to draw the diagram, and after the diagram I'll explain and then give it to you in writing. On the x-axis, we have income, output, employment. On the y-axis, we have ED, which is C plus I, AD, which is C plus I. Okay, the point, this is the 45-degree income line, shown as Y, also called as AS. AD, the curve, when it cuts the income line at a point, that point is called the equilibrium point. Equilibrium point. Correspondingly, if we draw a line over here, dotted line, and this line cuts at the second AD curve, let's call it AD curve U, this AD curve F. Okay. Now, when it decreases, why does it decrease? Due to a decrease in the investment expenditure. This gap which is created between ADF and ADU is called the deflationary gap. Deflationary gap. This gap. So, like I said, when the AD curve cuts the income line at a point, that point is the equilibrium point. When the AD curve shifts downward because of a decrease in the investment expenditure from ADF, it becomes now ADU. This downward shift causes a gap between the two. This gap which is caused is called the deflationary gap at full level output level of O. Draw this diagram and I will give it to you in points. Explanation of the diagram. This topic is deflationary gap. Deflationary gap. And like I said, it's a very important topic. You can expect a question of 6 marks or maybe 4 marks. Every year it comes as a 6 marks question. Either inflationary gap is asked of you or deflationary gap, or another term used is the excess demand or deficit demand. If you have drawn the figure, kindly give me a thumbs up so I can go on. Yeah, good, thank you. Write down, deficit demand gives a rise to deficit demand gives a rise to a deflationary gap which causes a fall in the price level, which causes a fall in the price level or deflation. It is equal to the difference between AD at full employment, between AD at full employment and AD at underemployment. Now write down explanation to the diagram. Explanation to the diagram. X-axis measures the level of income, output, and employment. The x-axis measures income, output, and employment. The y-axis measures, second point, the y-axis measures AD in brackets consumption plus investment. OY is the full employment level. OY is the full employment level of output and income which is obtained at point E, where the AD curve cuts the 45-degree line of the income line. The AD curve cuts the income line, and that point is called the equilibrium point. Okay. Next point. EY is equal to OY. EY is the AD line. EY that is equal to AD equal to OY, which is AS. Next point. Suppose due to decrease in investment, suppose due to a decrease in investment expenditure, the AD curve shifts downwards from ADF, this curve is ADF, to ADU. Next point, the difference between the two is EF. The difference between the two is EF, which is a measure of deflationary gap or deficit demand. The next point, the value of AD at full employment is EY. The value of AD at full employment is EY. And the last point, the value of AD at underemployment is FY. The value of AD under the employment point is F. Effects on general price level. What will be the effect on the general price level? Heading, effect on general price level. Deficit demand causes a fall in the general price level. In other words, deficit demand implies a situation of deflation, a situation of deflation. Next heading is reasons or causes for deficit demand. Reasons or causes for deficit demand. What are the reasons behind this? Number one, decrease in household consumption, expenditure, decrease in household consumption, expenditure due to fall in propensity to consume or rise in the propensity to save. These two children, please put your video on. Priyanshi and Sargun, put your video on. Second, decrease in private investment, demand because of fall in credit facilities, or increase in the rate of interest. Third reason could be decrease in government expenditure. Fourth, fall in exports and rise in imports. Fifth, decrease in money supply. And the sixth point, decrease in disposable income. Because of a rise in taxes. So this is the topic finished, deflationary gap. I have given you what is deflationary gap. It is nothing else but deficit demand, where AS is greater than AD. And why does this happen? Because due to a decrease in the investment expenditure, the AD line drops below the equilibrium point of equilibrium, and it shifts downwards. The AD curve shifts downwards, and the gap which is created from the original AD and the new AD, that gap is called the deflationary gap, and it is caused due to the decrease in the investment expenditure. Okay, and I had given you what happens on the general price level. Deficit demand means the demand is not much, supply is most. What happens? Price comes down. So there is an effect in the general price level. That is, there will be a fall in the price level. Yesterday we spoke about excess demand. When there is something more demand and less supply, what situation is created? A situation of inflation is created. What do you mean by inflation? Rise in the price. Why does the prices rise? Because people like to outdo each other to purchase what they require. Demand more, supply less. So what happens when demand is more and supply is less? The prices normally shoot up. This causes an inflation. So yesterday we spoke about inflationary gap, that is when the ID shifts upward because of an increase in the investment expenditure. The gap which is caused between the old AD and the new AD above, that was called inflationary gap. This causes a rise in the prices. Today's topic is the opposite of yesterday. Here, the AD curve drops, falls because of a decrease in the investment expenditure. So it shifts downward, and this gap was from the original and the new gap is called deflationary gap. I hope that is clear, children. Okay, so please do this topic very, very well. Learn it by heart, diagram, explanations, explanation to the diagram, and the reasons why it happens. There are reasons given for it. Please write them all. And if it is a 6 marks question, then you must answer them in total. Okay, beginning with the definition of what is deficit demand, the reasons of what is deficit demand, then you show the diagram. Then you give the reasons for the deficit of demand, explain them point by point wise, and also tell what would be the effects on the general price level. Okay, children, any problem till here? Yeah? Is the board visible with the diagram and things like that? Yeah? Okay. So children, we stop till today, till here. We'll stop today till here. And we will continue tomorrow with some more important topics. This chapter is a very important chapter. Tomorrow we will learn about how to control this excess demand and deficit demand. What are the steps being taken in the economy to do that? So this is an important another topic. Questions also come. Suggest measures for controlling the excess demand or suggest measures for controlling the deficit demand. This is a topic in itself. So we shall take it up tomorrow. Okay.